Have you ever realized how saving your first $10,000 feels almost impossible? Like climbing a mountain step by step, but somehow the next 20,000 arrives faster than you ever expected. Stay with me because what happens after you cross $30,000 completely changes how money, freedom, and control actually work. Most people believe wealth grows in a straight line. Save $1, get $1 closer to your goal. Reach 10,000 and you think you're 10% of the way to 100,000. Reach 20,000 and you believe you're 20% there. Simple math, right? That logic sounds reasonable, but it's completely wrong. And this exact mindset is the reason so many people stay stuck, endlessly trading hours of their life for money without ever breaking free. My name is Nick, and I spend far too much time thinking about money psychology. Why some people escape financial stress while others remain trapped year after year. If you actually want to understand how real wealth is built instead of hoping things magically improve, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button if this video changes how you think about your financial future. Here's something most people don't expect. $30,000 is not just another checkpoint on the road to financial independence. It's the point where everything shifts. It's where you stop chasing money, and money begins responding to your decisions. It's where protection turns into structure, security turns into leverage, and your relationship with money permanently changes. 10,000 made you feel safe. 20,000 made you feel confident. But 30,000 is where momentum starts moving without constant effort. Most people have no idea this transition even exists. Let me explain what the typical financial journey really looks like. When you have around $5,000 saved, you're still checking your bank balance with anxiety. You worry about rent, unexpected bills, and emergencies. Every expense feels dangerous. You're in survival mode where one mistake feels like it could ruin everything. At $10,000, something shifts slightly. You sleep better. A small emergency doesn't destroy you. You've built a basic safety net. This is the first real sense of financial relief, and it matters, but it's only the beginning. At $20,000, life feels different again. You're no longer just surviving. You start thinking ahead. You can handle bigger problems. You consider investments. You feel like you finally have control. This is where many people believe they've made it. But this is where the misunderstanding begins. Most people assume $30,000 just feels like a little more comfort, maybe a nicer vacation or slightly less stress. That assumption couldn't be further from the truth. $30,000 represents a change in how wealth behaves. It is where compound growth stops being an abstract idea and starts becoming something you can actually feel. It's where you stop reacting emotionally to money and start managing it strategically. It is where you stop thinking like someone who owns money and start thinking like someone who builds wealth. At this level, your mindset changes. You no longer see money as something to store or protect, you see it as a tool. Some dollars exist for safety, some are assigned to grow. Others are positioned to explore new opportunities. This isn't motivational talk, it's behavioral science. When people cross this threshold, they move from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. Decisions stop being driven by fear and start being driven by opportunity. Think about how your choices change. When you had $5,000, spending $100 felt stressful. At $20,000, it still required thought. But at $30,000, the question isn't, can I afford this? The question becomes, is this the best use of my money to create more freedom or future value? Most people miss this entirely. They believe $30,000 is about upgrading lifestyle, better car, better apartment, more spending. That's the thinking of someone who has money, not someone who grows wealth. People who understand this milestone see it differently. They recognize it as the moment they can play offense instead of defense. They stop focusing only on protecting money and start positioning it to multiply. They can take calculated risks without fear of collapse. They can build systems that generate returns without constant effort. At $30,000, new options become realistic. Diversification becomes possible. Retirement contributions become meaningful. Skill development becomes an investment instead of a risk. Business ideas and side projects no longer threaten your stability. But what truly separates wealth builders is this. They stop thinking in terms of goals and start thinking in systems. They automate saving and investing. They focus on income-producing skills and assets. They create momentum. This creates what I call a freedom flywheel. Money buys time. Time builds skills. Skills increase income. Income buys more time. Once the cycle starts, it accelerates. Most people never experience this because they stop just before reaching it. Many people stall around $20,000 to $25,000. They get comfortable, growth slows, curiosity fades. Comfort replaces ambition, and they plateau right before the most powerful phase begins. The $30,000 rule is not about luxury. It's about leverage. It's about creating a life where choices compound faster than money itself. It's the shift from working for money to directing money. Here's something most financial experts won't tell you. Everyone talks about reaching $100,000, but they ignore what really changes at $30,000. What you gain isn't just money, you gain the ability to say no. With almost no savings, you accept any job, any offer, any condition, but with $30,000, you ask better questions. You evaluate growth, culture, and alignment. You're no longer desperate, and desperation is costly. This is the power of no. It allows you to walk away from bad opportunities, unhealthy work environments, and risky decisions. And once you can say no, saying yes becomes far more powerful. You stop making survival choices and start making strategic ones. Problems are handled calmly. Decisions are evaluated long-term. You think like an investor, not someone trying to stay afloat. Something else happens that surprises many people. Relationships around money change. Some people seek advice without wanting to change. Others become uncomfortable. The key is balance. Don't brag, but don't pretend you're struggling either. The discipline that got you here is the same discipline that carries you forward. The biggest mistake at this stage is treating $30,000 like the finish line. It's not, it's the starting position. Like reaching base camp, you're finally equipped to climb higher. This is where investments and skills make sense. A course, certification, or education isn't an expense if it increases earning power. Wealth builders understand that the real risk isn't losing money, it's missing opportunity. At this level, opportunities become visible and accessible. Career moves, business ideas, strategic investments, these decisions are made from strength, not fear. Your perspective on money changes again. You start seeing dollars as workers. Some protect, some grow, some explore. Every dollar has a role. Random spending feels inefficient. Time also becomes more valuable than money. You stop optimizing for the cheapest option and start optimizing for efficiency. You understand what your time is worth. With $30,000, diversification becomes educational as well as financial. You learn how businesses work. You understand taxes better. You think more like an owner. Reaching this point proves something crucial. You can delay gratification. You can stay consistent. That confidence spills into every area of life. Success reinforces belief. Belief improves decisions, and decisions create momentum. The hardest part of this milestone is resisting the urge to look wealthy instead of becoming wealthy. Spending to impress feels tempting, but it steals future freedom. One person buys a luxury car, another invests strategically. Same starting point, very different outcomes. The difference isn't intelligence, it's understanding leverage. Wealth building isn't about suffering. It's about spending on things that return value: money, time, or opportunity. $30,000 allows that shift. This isn't the destination. It's the launchpad. It's when you stop being a saver and start becoming a wealth builder. If you're at 15 or 20,000, you're closer than you think. If you're just starting, every dollar saved is shaping who you're becoming. The $30,000 rule isn't about the number, it's about the transformation. And once that shift happens, your idea of what's possible changes forever.